I'm Amanda from Modern Successful Parenting, and we're here to help your children spread their wings and fly through life. Let's talk about types of discipline. Consistency is the most important part of discipline. If you say you're not going to get dessert if you don't eat your dinner, then dessert's not happening. Doesn't matter what's happening. Doesn't matter what happens. If they don't eat that dinner, then they're not getting that dessert if you've said that. Please don't say you're not going to the park if you don't eat your lunch, because the park is something that they can go and they can run around in. It makes them tired so that they're ready for bed, so that they sleep well. It makes your evening so much better. So don't make a rod for your own back. Make sure that whatever you say is easily followed through. If you can't follow through on that, then don't say it. So it's really important that you are consistent with what you say, that you consistently set those boundaries, and that you always follow through. Now, if you always follow through, children will test those boundaries. They're going to have a look and they're going to say, right, Mum said we couldn't go to the park yesterday, but today's a new day, it's different, I'm going to test that and see if I can go. But if you stay consistent, then they won't have that continuous whining. That, but I want to go to the park. Oh, please, can we go to the park? I've got to go to the park. I want to go to the park. Oh, but you said we could go to the park. Oh, I need to go to the park. And they'll go on and on and on like this. But if they know what you say is what happens, then over time it becomes so much easier for you. Now, you've got to understand that these positive discipline techniques take time, and they in themselves need to be consistent. Whenever you're talking about consistency and you're responding to them, make sure that you keep a very calm, even voice. So you're not going to be really excited like this, and you're not going to be like this. You're going to just keep that really level, calm voice. So for instance, if you're going to say you need to eat your lunch before you have to have some dessert, then you need to say you need to finish your lunch. Oh, but I want dessert now. You need to finish your lunch. Oh, I want to go and play. You need to finish your lunch. Oh, but Mummy, I need to watch TV. You need to finish your lunch. Oh, look outside, look at the puppy. You need to finish your lunch. So you can see that doesn't matter what they say, I just keep saying the same thing. Now, if I keep saying the same thing, you know how annoying it is for you when they keep saying the same thing again and again? Turn it on its head. It's so annoying for them. But what it is it's that consistency. So they know that what they have to do right then and there is finish their lunch. Once their lunch is finished, you go, oh, right, now lunch is done. Let's go and do something. And so you can have that really happy and go off and do things, but at that point, but they have to finish their lunch when you've said that. And it's really important that if you don't really care if they finish their lunch, then don't say it. If you don't care that they can climb up and down the playground, then don't say don't climb. Let them climb. But make sure that what you say is exactly what you can follow through on. Don't say things like you're not going to go and see Grandma again if you don't do this, because you know that you're going to go see Grandma. So it's important that you don't say things that you know are going to happen, that absolutely are going to happen. Like, you're not going to go to bed if you don't do something. Well, they are going to go to bed, and eventually they're going to go to bed. So you've put yourself in a situation where you've said something that may or may not happen. So just be careful with that. So that consistency can be tricky, but it's basically making sure that what you say to them, you can follow through with. Now, rules. Rules are really important. Rules govern ourselves. They govern what we do, what we say, they govern how we act in life. For instance, if I don't stop at a stop sign or I run a red light, I'm going to get a ticket. If I steal from people, I'm going to have to go to court and maybe put in jail. These are rules that happen in our adult life. Now, by teaching our children about rules, what it does is it gives them an empowerment to be able to live in our society as young adults and as teenagers in a very safe way. So teaching rules for our children and how to obey rules doesn't mean that we're stifling them and that they're losing their freedom or anything like that. All it means is that we're teaching them how to live in our society. Now, the rules that we should have around our house should be kept simple. Very, very simple. Things like packing up after themselves, cleaning their teeth, flushing the toilet, putting plates away once they've finished with them into the kitchen. These are just basic, simple rules that we can start to reinforce. And the more that we reinforce them and they then become habits, they're then not rules. They're just habits that we live by, that are healthy habits that we live by. So initially, our rules are to do with keeping ourselves healthy and safe. You should have chores. Every child should have a chore to do. And it's important that they do, because when they grow up and they become young adults, or they move out and into the world, or even as teenagers, they need to know how to look after a house, and this is the way that we teach them. Years ago, kids used to help with chores around the house. Everyone used to get involved and help. And it becomes very, very difficult if it's left to one person. Whereas if everyone gets involved and everyone helps around, then it's so easy to keep things happy and healthy. So start from when they're really little, and then it won't be a chore. It won't be hard to do. It'll be just part of life, and it will be very easy. I've seen some people, young adults, who are very capable and keep everything nice and tidy and are really loving living out on their own. They're going shopping and they're creating good healthy meals. And then I see other young adults that are really struggling with having to clean the house all the time. Oh, I have to clean it. You know, every week there's dust, and we have to vacuum. And if I don't vacuum, then you should have seen the mold that was growing on the floor when I picked up the apple core that I'd left there. And you think that's disgusting, but that comes back to when they were little. They needed to be part, or actually all the way through their childhood, they need to be part of how to keep their environment clean and healthy. And if you can teach that right now, and you can use rules to teach those aspects of living healthy lives, it makes their life so much easier when they're older. So one of the other ways that we can look for positive discipline is time out. Now, time out is so powerful, because what it does is it gives the kids the ability to learn to calm their brain down. So all you're doing with time out is giving them the chance to think through or calm down, and once they're calm, they can then start to think through what happened. Why did it escalate like it did? Why did I just keep doing the wrong thing? What could I have done better? And that helps them to make good choices later on. Now, I've seen some kids who do something wrong and then they go and sit in the timeout chair and they go, I'm having time out. I threw that book. I'm having time out. And they go and they sit and they have their own time out. But what it does is it gives them that structure of understanding, okay, if I do something wrong, then this is the consequence of that. I'm going to think through it. Yep, okay, I'm not going to do it again. Now, if they then consistently throw the book and then go to timeout, throw the book and go to timeout, then it's a play. And they're just mucking around. And at that point, you can then escalate it and do a different type of discipline to stop that playing and that mucking around. Some of the things for timeout that you can really think about is set a timer. If they're in timeout and you're going to do something else, for instance, 2 minutes for a 2-year-old, 3 minutes for a 3-year-old, 4 minutes for a 4-year-old, 5 minutes for anyone older than that, then set your timer on your phone, let it go. Once the timer goes off and they've been there for 2 minutes, you can go back and you can ask them, okay, what did we do wrong? What are we going to do better? Let's go and let's just get on with life. The other thing too is that if they don't want to sit there on their own, what you can do is sit with them, but don't engage with them. Don't talk to them, don't discuss it. You sit there silently for 2 minutes or for 4 minutes. Now that might feel like you're in timeout, but what you're doing is you're supporting them through that. So they'll be thinking all sorts of things in their head, and probably by the time you hit 4 minutes for a 4-year-old, they'll be thinking something completely different. Their little brains will be going, they'll see a mozzie somewhere, or they'll see a fly, or they'll, see something that they'll start to think, about all these other things in life. And that's okay, because that's what timeout does. It gives them that time for their brain to calm down, to get away from that situation. Now, talking about getting away from the situation, that's another type of discipline that we can look at, and that's called distraction and diversion. And we'll be going through that in the next episode of Discipline. Thanks for listening. Bye. Thank you for watching Modern Successful Parenting. All advice and information given during this course is designed for general use only. If you have any concerns for your child, please seek professional advice as soon as possible. For terms and conditions, see website www.modernsuccessfulparenting.com.au. Thank you.